is my video debut on the harmonica, which has been around a long time. I haven't improved since I'm 6 years old. I'm Shirley Keller, and you're listening to The Folk People, a program heard over the station a couple of times a week, and it's about folk music, folk dancing, and storytelling, where it started, what's happened to it through the years, and where it's going. And to make you appreciate the true blues harp or harmonica, I have as my guest today Mark the Harper. So thank you, Mark, for coming here today and helping us find out something about the harp, or as we know it, the harmonica.
Oh, you're very welcome, Shirley.
I wonder if you could tell me anything about why do they call this a harp? It doesn't look like a harp.
Well, it's referred to sometimes as the mouth harp because it's, or a mouth organ. And I think harp is just an easier way of saying it. You know.
Like they call a guitar an axe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were telling me that before the show that the harmonica or the harp really started in China?
Yes, ancient China. I believe it was the Ming Dynasty that one of the emperors, I forget his name right now, could have been Emperor Ming, as a matter of fact.
Could have been.
Concocted an instrument which he called a sheng, which had a series of bamboo shoots of different lengths and heights, and they were kind of in a cluster, and each shoot provided a different note.
I guess they had little reeds on them of some kind, because that's really what's in the harmonica, right?
Right.
There's little metal reeds?
Now they're metal reeds, you know. Once upon a time they were, I guess, bamboo reeds, you know, sort of similar to the type of reeds in saxophones, which are kind of a woody substance of some sort.
What made you decide to play this instrument?
Well, I guess listening to people who could really play the heck out of it is what made me get into it a lot. I received one from a friend of my mother's when I was about maybe 10 or 11, and I just sat in the back of the toy chest. And then I heard people like John Mayall doing the song Room to Move, and Magic Dick from the Jay Giles Band doing Whammer Jam, and that was my first exposure to the blues. And then I heard Muddy Waters, and then I said, wait a second, I've got a harmonica in my toy chest. And I didn't have a toy chest anymore because I was older then. But the stuff that I didn't throw out was in some bag in the back of the closet, and I took it out and I started playing along with records and trying to emulate some of the sounds I heard on recordings that I liked a lot, and just fooling around with it a lot.
Well, I really would love to learn to play the harp. But I understand that there are things that I am not able to do, and I'd like you to explain something about it. Would you get one of your harps so that you could explain this? Now this is your workshop.
Yes.
Really. This is where you keep all your harps. And people may wonder, well, why do you have so many? You have a lot. How many have you got there?
At last count, I don't know, roughly 20.
And why do you have 20?
I have one for every key. These naturally leave out some keys, but the keys that I don't use as often are in the bottom here. And I don't know what she's trying to tell me over there. So I've got A through G here, and I've got a chromatic harmonica.
Well, now, people may not know what a chromatic harmonica is.
Okay.
But let's kind of leave that for later on, okay? What I want to do right away is to find out what it is that's different about why I can't play this the way you play it. That's what I want to know. So, would you give me a little lesson?
I spilled water on myself. That's why I was laughing.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, well, what would you like to learn first off? A chord.
Yeah, well, a chord, I can play.
You can do that. I noticed when you were playing Ferrajacqua, you were blowing in. Now, that's when you play straight harp. When you're blowing in, you're playing the same key as is notated on the harmonica. A popular way for playing blues would be what they call second position, as opposed to the first position, which is what you're playing. Second position is also referred to as crossharp. And for crossharp, you're mostly drawing in the notes, and that gives you the ability to bend some of the notes better and get a bluesier tone.
Now, they may not know what you mean by bending, first of all. So,
well, first
bend a note.
Okay. That's when you're playing one note, and you have your lips over one note, and you're concentrating the airflow through one note, or blocking with tongue. We'll get into that later. But you're being able to get several different notes out of one particular hole. And by doing, there are different ways of doing it. Some of the ways of doing it is by compressing the opening or narrowing the opening in the throat, which is the air passage, and channeling it into here, and almost as, or I kind of like talk almost when I'm bending a note. I'll say things like Dewey, you know, like
well, like
or Dwayne.
in a flute, or you might go toot 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 like that to break off the tone.
Right. That's more of like a damping, I think, or a stopping effect.
But still, it has, you're saying like a word, like toot, or do, or something.
When I do that on a harmonica, it has yet a different effect. It's kind of like stopping it. Like I can go. That's stopping
like
it, and also
a very confused chicken.
Yeah, doesn't know where he's going. So this will be a chord drawing in on the D harmonica, which would give me an A chord.
Now you're saying that when you blow out, you get one note. When you suck in, you get another note.
Right.
And so the thing to do is to not, in order to play blues, you're sucking in on the root note.
The root note, yes. If you're playing second position.
Yeah.
So if I was playing blues in A, and the key of A, and I was using a D harmonica, I would be drawing in. If I had an A harmonica that I was using, I would be blowing in.
Yes, I see. So you're blowing into that, but you're sucking on the D.
Yeah, it's the same note, it's just a different octave.
Yeah. And you can't do much with blowing in, but you can do more of the blues on sucking.
you could do, I mean, you need to blow in every now and then if for no other reason than to breathe, right?
To breathe.
But it's, you know, it's commonly used more for drawing. Like, I can go a long time drawing in air constantly rather than blowing out, and blow out every few holes, like that's all drawing in. Now if I mix in drawing in and blowing out, it'll be something like this would be blowing out, and this is drawing in.
I'm going to have to go home and practice. I can see that. Because it's such a little thing to carry with you. I mean, I carry a guitar and all that. This is so much easier to just carry this. I'm wondering...
I've often played them in subway stations. When I was starting to learn in my formative harmonica years, I'd find myself waiting on a subway platform underneath New York City for a long time, waiting for the train after midnight, and being somewhat bored waiting for the train, I would play harmonica, and the subway tunnel carries very well. It's great for acoustics down there.
Like a shower?
Better. Yeah. So I spent a lot of time learning in the subway.
Did people want to give you money while you were doing that? They didn't put you in jail? They
never want to give you money in the subway. They just want money. But I've given out some harmonicas recently on the subway. New York City, sometimes on the 1 train or the 4 train. Well, you know, it's unfortunate, but people have to go on the subway to collect money for themselves and utilizing cups or whatever. And I've started a program called Harps for the Homeless, where I will give someone, in addition to a quarter or whatever, a harmonica that, you know, I've never thrown out a harmonica. And I've got tons of harmonicas in a bag at home that it's not good for me, because one particular harp one reed in the harp might be slightly damaged and I wouldn't be able to bend a particular note on it. But you know, I won't play it, but I haven't thrown it out.
That's
so
a great
I'll give it to somebody, and I'll say, well, you know, if you learn this, and when you go around on your runs, you know, play it, you might be able to do a little bit better for yourself. Because I personally am more inclined to donate to people who are playing music or trying to do something like comedy or you know, something a little more constructive. Yes.
They're trying to give you
rather than just
entertainment of some kind. Yeah, rather than just, or a service of some kind.
Yeah. So
would you play a song for us?
Okay, sure. Why don't I play a song called Chicken Train?
Oh, that's great.
This is a song that was written by the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and when I heard this song, I really liked it a lot. And as I got to play it more and more, I embellished it and sped it up and actually added like 15 verses to it. I'm not going to do them all now.
Okay.
I've done this song for about half an hour on a place called Harris Field, across the road from Bronx High School of Science, during some legendary keg parties back in the late 70s.
What is a cake party? I know what a cake walk is, but I don't know.
Oh,
what
a keg. That's when you get like 3 or 4
party.
kegs of beer and cut school. And just
I know
go
what
up there
kegs are,
and
yes.
get drunk all day.
Okay.
It's popular in the spring. Chicken train, running all day. Chicken train, running all day. Chicken train, running all day. Don't want it on, don't want it off. Chicken train, taking chickens away. Laser beams in my dreams. Laser beams in my dreams. Laser beams in my dream. Don't want it on, don't want it off. Laser beam like a sawed-off dream. Chicken train, running all night. Chicken train, running all day. Chicken train, running all the time. All the way to Frisco Bay. Here it comes, it's never late. Chickens jamming in every crate. Chicken train, running all day. Chicken train, running all day. Chicken train, running all day. Don't want it on, don't want it off. Chicken train, taking chickens away.
Oh, that was great. Mark the Harper is my guest today, and I'm Shirley Keller of the Folk People. Mark, you've played in many, many places in New York City, and I guess surrounding areas. I know that you've been on the Joe Franklin show, and that you've been, well, I've got a list here of all the places that you've played at, various radio stations and Joey Adams' show, and you also play with a lot of different bands.
Yes.
As a guest soloist.
Yeah, I've sat in with a lot of bands. Before I had my own band, I would just go to places and jump up on stage before I, got to be known by some of these people, and then they would invite me up on stage. But you see, in New York City, with things being the way they are in blues clubs and blues performers not being able to make that much of a living with their own band, there's never really room for a harmonica player unless, I mean, as far as a paying member of the band.
Yeah.
People always say, well, yeah, come on down and sit in. And
right.
Sure, they'll play all night, because we just want to get up there and play. So if a harp player wants to have his own band or be in a band full-time and be a paid member of the band, pretty much have to start their own band. And that's what, that's what I did a few years ago. I started my own band. Well, in Chicago, however, I just came back from Chicago. I went to a blues festival out there, and out there they recognize the importance of blues harmonica players in the context of a blues band, and just about every bona fide blues band out there has a harmonica player, whether they're the singer or not. See, I'm the singer for my band, so I'm also playing harmonica.
Well, everybody out there should know that if you're going to play the harmonica, you should also sing, because it's certainly good to have both. Right?
It is, yeah. It doesn't. It's not a absolute necessity. I mean, some great harmonica players actually aren't singers. Like like I mentioned before, Magic Dick from the Jay Giles Band, who's an absolute genius on harmonica.
Tell me something about how do you get a single note?
Okay, there are a couple different methods. One method that you'll find in all the little instructional, 8-page pamphlets that come along with the harmonica that teach you to play things like marine hymns and, Farajaka and Three Blind Mice. They say to block the, part of the holes that you're playing. Now, let's say I'm going to play a chord on the first 4 holes.
Okay.
I will cover the first 4 holes with my lips. Now, if I want to get one note out of it, the book says, well, cover the first 3 with your tongue and leave a space open for the other one. So, however, when you're starting out, that's very uncomfortable to do.
It certainly is.
I haven't met one person yet who's been able to learn it that way. So I kind of learned it by, I guess the best way to describe it would be closing the passage in your throat, trying to narrow it so like the air is kind of in a thinner stream, and then pursing your lips over the particular hole that you're trying to, get the note out of, like. But after I was playing for a long time using that method, the tongue method then came naturally to me, and there's different things I could do with it. For instance, I could have my mouth over 5 or 6 holes even, and if I put my tongue down in the middle of it and have the air going through hole number 1 and number 6 and block the others, or have it covering, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get like kind of like an octave separation. You get like a harmony going there, like. Something like that.
You were saying also to me before we came on camera that in the Civil War there was a great use of the harmonica because people could carry it with them easily.
Yeah, I guess the harmonica was like the hula hoop of the Civil War. It was a fad back then. Well, I guess I can't call it a fad, it's still here, but it got popularized in the 1800s. A gentleman by the name of M. Hohner, who then went on to become the world's largest manufacturers of harmonicas, and not meaning to plug any particular company or not, but Hohner is pretty much the premier brand, and most pros do use that, or they'll use a Whang harmonica, which is a new brand, which is also okay, but Hohner's my favorite. And being that it was popular in the 1800s, a lot of soldiers just carried it in their pocket, so it didn't interfere with all the weapons of destruction that they also had on their belts. And around the campfire they'd break it out and they'd play songs like "Oh Susanna" and stuff like that, and got pretty popular that way.
Were they weren't doing blues back then, though, were they?
I don't think the soldiers were. I think maybe the people that the Union Army were fighting for were playing blues. Because it started down on
the Southerners?
Well, Southern blacks,
yeah.
You know, on plantations, and I guess it started from tribal chants in Africa, and then became incorporated into field hollers, and where there'd be like a, you know, a yell and a repeat, and it would turn into like a song, and
almost like what you did with the chicken.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And so that kind of evolved into the Delta Blues, which Robert Johnson here was known as the king of the, I'm stepping on the cord, the king of the Delta Blues. Yes, that's why I wore this shirt today. My man, Robert Johnson. The main guy from slide guitar playing, he influenced incredible amounts of people. The movie Crossroads that you might have heard of is, you know, directly based on his, well, directly based on a fictional tale derived from his life.
Yes.
Okay. But that's who this guy is. So then people like Muddy Waters and Big Bill Brunsey moved up to Chicago from the Delta, and they popularized what was called the electric blues. Muddy Waters was the first person to incorporate the quintet, such as a harmonica player. He had the best harmonica players in his band. He'd have Little Walter, Junior Wells, James Cotton, Carrie Bell, a lot of major blues harmonica artists that are around today, sort of, you know, really got their start playing for the master, Muddy Waters, and he'd also have 2 guitars and piano and drums and bass.
We don't have too much time left. I know this time has gone so fast, but I wanted everybody to know that you have a cassette, and it's called Mark the Harper. And
live from the dive.
and this cassette can be obtained by you. If you get your pencils ready at the end of the program, we're going to give Mark the Harper's address and telephone numbers so that you can get in touch with him if you maybe want to give him a gig or buy a cassette, or I don't even know if you give lessons.
Oh,
but,
sure. Give lessons
he does that too. So this is his cassette. And
may I mention that the cassette has about 5 or 6 songs on each side, and it's with my full band, which also includes guitar, bass, and drums, and it's some pretty good Roadhouse type rock and blues.
Well, we're going to play some of that at the very close of the show. We're going to close out the show with a cut from this album so everybody can hear what your blues band sounds like.
Can I let people know where they might be able to catch us live?
Well, the thing is that, as we talked about before, we can't use dates right now.
Oh, well, I wasn't thinking of that, but we do play regularly at some places.
Where?
In Westchester, we play at a place called Bendover's, which is in Pelham, New York. And it's owned by a Benjamin Dover, which is why it has that name. And in Manhattan, we play at Dan Lynch's Blues Bar on 14th Street and 2nd Avenue. And we also play at Manny's Car Wash on the Upper East Side. And we play there on a regular basis as well. So I would advise people to call up these places, and they'll let them know when we're going to be there.
Well, why don't you play another solo for us?
Let's see. Well, I'll keep it like this. Woke up this morning, blues all around my bed. Woke up this morning, blues all around my bed. Well, I pick up my pillow, blues all under my head. Woke up this morning, blues all around my door. Woke up this morning, blues all around my door. Well, I peel up the linoleum, but the blues are all over the floor.
I hate to stop you, but I wanted to show everybody a photo of Mark the Harper. And of course you can see what he looks like live, but this is a really nice photo. And I wanted to let everybody know that you're listening to the Folk People. And my guest today has been Mark the Harper, which is a harmonica player. And don't forget to get your pencil ready, because we're going to go out with music that will be from his cassette. And you can get his telephone number and his address. And this is Shirley Keller of the Folk People, and I thank you, Mark, for being here.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And I hope people out there got some information that they could really use, because anyone can start playing this, right?
Yes.
Right.
All you need is a will and a little bit amount of time.
Okay. Well, I think what we're going to do right now is to hear some of Mark the Harper.
Okay,
on
I
your
suppose I
cassette.
should explain, because it's not an original tune. It's Magic Dick's compilation. It's his composition of a song called Whammer Jam, which is a song that really, that's the song that just made me want to go out and blow my face out.
And you're going to play along with it, right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I hope you'll tune in next time when the Folk People comes back your way. So thank you for listening. This is Shirley Keller. My guest today, Mark the Harper. And here's your chance.
That was just about perfect timing.
Yeah.